Hi, my name is Chris Brown. I'm the CEO for ClosePoint USA. And today we have the gentlemen of the industry sitting with us that bring a different perspective on how they treat their clients and bring deals to closing. I've been working with Mark Caravaglio for about 4 or 5 years now.
A little longer than that.
A little bit longer, 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bob, I just met,
Yes.
who's been a friend of Mark for a long time. And now I don't know, did you guys work together before this? And then Mark, you went and did your thing and then got back together with each other? Because I know you're at Berkshire.
Yes, I was Berkshire Hathaway for around 7 years.
Okay.
But no, Mark and I met through different channels. We both have a passion for martial arts, and we're both martial arts instructors. And we met actually his son and daughter when they were very young. Came to my school.
We became close because we shared a lot of the same values and understood the circles of the martial artists that we studied under, and then from there we just grew, and just for the last 30 years we've just been together through that channel.
Okay.
And then of course met through more professional channels. Once I worked for Berkshire Hathaway, we had that commonality as well.
So everybody asks this question, I'm sure. What belts are you guys?
I'm an 8th degree black belt.
And you, Bob?
I'm also an 8th degree black belt.
That's amazing. And it took you how long to get to that level?
My whole life.
Your whole life, it's a never-ending cycle.
Never-ending learning process, never-ending desire to be better. We met in 2000.
2000, yeah.
And we joined up together and had our own martial arts school. And we've been training and teaching since 2000,
Yeah.
whether it's a 4-year-old or police officers, correction officers, anybody in the military we've trained. We've trained Air Force marshals,
Oh, wow.
the whole gamut.
And how much time during the week do you spend instructing martial arts now?
Sure, that's a great question.
Yeah.
It's diminished over time.
Okay.
In the past, I used to teach 15 classes a week. Right now,
You said 15.
15 classes a week.
That's a lot.
It's a passion.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Love it. Every minute of it. The discipline, the skills, the knowledge, the cultures of Japan, Israel, China, Philippines. I can go on and on and on. Now I teach 4 classes a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still active.
Still active.
How about you, Bob? Same?
And we train. We try to.
You do it together.
We do it together for
Okay.
the most part, and then we train together. We
In the morning.
in the morning, 7:00 in the morning, just to kind of fit it in to our own continued growth. Because Mark hit the nail on the head. We do it for the passion. We always had other occupations that paved the way. And that makes a difference, because if you have to keep the lights on and doing, you have to have 200 students to pay the bills, it's a different motivation. We do it because we want to see our students grow. We want them to learn best as we learn from our grandmasters, and we want them to go on and teach others. And that's what the passion's all
So
about.
how many students per class? What is the range?
It's roughly 20.
20.
Yeah.
Still great.
Yeah.
And the age groups are, again, like you said, from very young to anybody for that matter.
Correct.
That wants to, develop that skill.
Correct.
So let's get to the real estate side.
Yeah.
What led you both to go into real estate out of martial arts? And as your friendship grew, you said you went to Berkshire. You were there 7 years.
Yeah.
You started where?
So my career originally in sales was auto sales.
Is that
I
right?
was at a Toyota dealership, going full-time sales and full-time college at St. John's University. When I graduated college, the day I graduated, my grandfather was a real estate broker.
Mm-hmm.
Bought my first 2 family the day I graduated college with the money I saved from the auto sales. And then I went into real estate and worked for Dick Schlott at Schlott Realtors.
That's right, Cole Banker.
and wound up managing 2 offices with 95 agents in the 80s and up until 1991 when he sold to Coldwell Banker. So a lot of the offices that Coldwell Banker has in Middlesex County, Somerset County, and many other areas were all Dick Schlot's offices.
Yeah, he was huge.
Yeah.
He did a ton of business. When I was at the law firm on Easton Avenue, we were doing that work, with those offices. And there was quite a bit of business that was coming out of there. And it wasn't a surprise that someone like Coldwell Banker would pick them up, usually when you get to that level.
Yeah.
That's the next.
See the success in.
It was a great learning experience. Working with Dick Schlott was fantastic because I was going.
I've never met him. What kind of man is he?
He was very dedicated to his people, dedicated to the craft of real estate. Really cared about, the customers, the clients. He was a caring guy.
So would you say that he was a mentor to you in the way you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did you get to meet him?
I did not.
No,
No.
you didn't work at
I
that
took
time.
a less traditional path.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I had a dual career path with real estate. I was working for many years for a major telecom as an executive director for networking and cybersecurity. And the interesting thing, and Mark and I shared this on the way, is the parallels between what I was doing in the telecom and real estate. And you wouldn't think up front that there were
I'm
parallels,
I'm
right?
trying to figure that out right now.
So I mean, just really
Give us
quickly,
that secret.
there were many, actually. So here's one, right? So we used to have once a month we would meet up with our vendors, and this telecom obviously had a vast global network. So we would have to negotiate maintenance contracts, new technology, expansion of technology, things like that. And they were some sit-down, interesting discussions where, your best effort was to try to save your company, the monies and drive that, extended contract down for
Right.
your, so there was some interesting parallels there where, with negotiation skills, whether you're doing it for an industry like telecom or you're doing it for your customers, you're negotiating on their best behalf, and you're really trying to drive the best interests of your client as you're representing them.
Now, did you have any training in negotiation when you were with the telecom industry? Or
Mostly through experience as I was moving up the ranks.
Gotcha.
I didn't start, of course, as an executive director. I
No,
started
sure.
as a networking engineer and then a cyber engineer, and then from there I got into management, supervisor management, various levels, and through that type of exposure and experience, you kind of get the the sense, because you're negotiating at different levels.
Right.
Major contracts at an executive director level. The other thing is technology. So what's great about EXP is that the technology it wasn't foreign to me, and it's something I used quite a bit, and it might have been different, but it was something I could have adapted to very
Right.
quickly. Right? And the third thing I think was major parallel was data analytics. I mean,
That's
in
true.
cybersecurity,
Yeah.
you're constantly, looking at the cyber attacks, but making sure that your resources are effectively focused on the source of the attack. Well, in real estate, you're looking at data to help provide your customer the best information so they can make informed decisions. So these kind of parallels weren't as evident until I kind of got into real estate, and I kind of seen they connected the dots a little bit for me.
So with you, Mark, you said that you bought your first 2-family, and then that really piqued your interest to get into the real estate side.
Absolutely.
So
I credit my grandfather for that.
that's cool. And to do it that early, for anybody to get into any industry and figure out what they want to do, is a big leg up for them, because they're getting in and going. But with the real estate purchase, what did you learn the most out of that led you to say, this is cool, this is what I want to do? Because you're a young guy, you're buying a 2-family, you saved up all your bucks, and now you turned it into an investment property. What said to you, yeah, this is it? And now you're in the game, 30 years?
So going back At the time in 1985, interest rates were 11.75%.
Yeah.
So when I hear somebody complain about interest rates,
You just roll your eyes.
you know, here's a real life example. That home that I paid $152,500 is worth well over $1 million.
Right.
I was able to refinance it 3 times, extract equity out of it, broaden my real estate
Sure.
because of that.
So you bought more real estate.
And then what happened was the passion for real estate, buying, renovating, selling, buying different properties, doing things like that, I was able to do. And I was buying properties in New York and had tenants and all of that, went through that whole process, you know, before I was even...
Would you ever go back to
7
New
years.
York now? Based on what you're seeing?
For real estate or to live?
To real estate, to buy real estate and invest in New York.
Absolutely. An opportunity is an opportunity. If the opportunity makes
It's
sense,
fair.
I'll go anywhere.
The whole mayor thing there doesn't scare you at all?
Not at all.
Not at all.
And there's an opportunity everywhere. You
It's
just
a
have
good
to
point.
find it.
You just have to find it.
I'm not focused there
Right.
because I reside in New Jersey, but I moved to New Jersey in 1996. I
So
moved to New
you
Jersey.
touched on something when you said you pulled out the equity and is able to open you up to other investments that you've done. You ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Absolutely.
Okay, there you go.
The
That's my
amount-
Bible. I mean, I've talked about it many times. Have you read it, Bob?
I have not. No.
You should take a look at it.
Talking about passive income.
What he's exactly described at a young
Quadrants.
age and what he did, the different quadrants, the cash flow quadrants, is exactly what most Americans can do.
Yes.
Do you use that book when you speak to your clients to educate them on why they should become investors in real estate with the tax-free money of pulling out equity?
Absolutely. I just recently did a transaction. You did both transactions, obviously. ClosePoint closed it. One of my clients bought a property in North Brunswick. It was his first property. And if you say you can't do it, he's a bartender,
Okay.
making a modest income, but he's going to flight school. So he's going to be a full-fledged commercial pilot when he graduates.
Wow.
On a modest income, he bought his first property in North Brunswick. 11 months later, he bought his second property in Toms River.
Wow.
I helped him get the tenants for his first property. So now instead of having one property that's appreciating, he's got 2 properties that are appreciating.
Right.
The laws of compounding are already starting for him. Within 5 years, he's going to have 5 or 6 properties, and he will be 30 years old.
Wow.
So
What a great position to be in.
it's just copying what works.
Right.
There's a blueprint. You look at the blueprint and you do it over and over again, and you'll be successful.
I don't disagree in any way. I don't know why people try to reinvent the wheel when, like, a book like Rich Dad Poor Dad exists that's so prevalent in how people should be looking at their money.
Sure.
And stop being consumers and being, asset driven.
Yes.
People who buy assets instead of liabilities. But that's a whole nother subject to talk about.
Sure.
Where they're not dumping the young kid. Oh, let me go buy a Corvette. Oh, what did that Corvette do for you? At the end of the day,
Yeah.
I'm going to go buy assets that are going to drive revenue into my
Cash
family.
flow positive assets.
Yes.
Buy a Corvette if it's an investment vehicle.
Yes. Yeah, if you can use like Turo, that where you can rent it out and people use it, yeah, that makes sense.
Sure, absolutely.
But if it's going to sit in your driveway and not used too much, it's kind of a wasted liability in some cases.
I'm very fortunate that I have 0 debt except for debt that's cash flow positive.
I'm not surprised by that, actually.
Yeah.
Statement.
Similar. Yeah.
Bob, you're the same
Way.
play.
In 2008, when everyone's 401 became a 201, I realized that, my portfolio just at that time was not enough. And I needed to look into real estate. And that's when I really heavily got into purchasing homes for rentals. I flipped homes. I got into the real estate market very heavily.
And, at a point now where I have numerous homes in the state, outside of the state, and, I'm debt free. And of course, all the equity is there to utilize if I wanted to continue on. So, they had that old saying, if you want to live, you get a job. If you want wealth, you buy real estate. And it's true. And we try to tell our clients, who may be a little hesitant to buy right now, wait a little longer. And we said, well, you could wait a little longer, and that $500,000 or $600,000 house is now a $700,000 house that you put in the pocket of the seller versus the equity in the pocket you could have had a year from now. And so they kind of look at that a little differently when you rethink that sometimes when you put it in that way, which is true,
So what's cool about you guys, you have licenses now to actually teach people what you're actually already doing.
Absolutely.
And I see so many realtors that talk about it, but not actually practicing what they're talking about.
Yes.
And it is evident the way you come off. I'm just sitting here and I can tell what you're doing is exactly what most realtors should be doing. If you're going to go out and teach people how to invest in real estate, you should be damn well doing it yourself.
Exactly.
And not just speaking from, hearsay or from other people and stuff like that.
Sure.
Which I think is incredibly important. And I think that's why you guys are so successful, because your experience is glaring. In my world, I do the same exact stuff. I've done it for a long time, learned it early. Didn't learn it from my father, actually. My father was a teacher. I actually learned it from, I was taught well from a guy named Nick Mariano, who was the senior partner at the law firm I was working at. He said, you see that car over there? And it was like a Mercedes S500 or something like that. He goes, you want to buy that car? I said, yeah, I would love to buy that car. He goes, yeah, you don't buy it. You go buy that building over there. You rent that building out. You make positive revenue, and then you go buy that car. You let the asset pay for your car. And that's when it started for me. And I was young. I was like 23 years old getting that advice. And then I bought my first property when I was 26.
That's great. Yeah.
And then started my game doing that stuff. So we have a mixture of commercial and residential stuff that we do. But
That's great.
I think consumers, if they're seeking somebody to actually find out how to do this well, and all the nuts and bolts, do you do an LLC, do an S Corp, that type of, but they should find realtors who are actually doing it and have positive experience with it. One of the things I found interesting when I work with your clients and the transaction as a whole, it's very calming.
Sure.
Do you agree? It's not chaotic. It's not last minute 2 a.m. emails that are going about that are simply like, what the hell is going on here? How do you guys keep that discipline? I mean, is that your training? Is that, how do you keep your clients feeling so confident in everything you're doing?
I think that
This is a tough question, I know, but
no, it's not.
okay, all right. I thought I was,
Not to me.
I just found it interesting because your clients, when they get to the table, are like, yeah, Mark, I took care of it. The signs of what, they close and there's no drama. And that's exactly the goal of a deal. It's smooth and secure, no drama.
So getting from somebody buying a home to getting to the closing table, there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of nervousness, anxiety going on. One of the things that makes it easy for me is I think I was a disciplined person before I got into the martial arts. The martial arts just kind of led me to more discipline. And talking about the real estate that he acquired in 2008 and on, we've had many conversations about the real estate, what he's doing, what I'm doing, how we're doing it, what we're doing, renovations, things of that nature, and, bouncing things off each other as we were, after class, before class.
Right.
When we were training together, we'd be talking, the martial arts, and then it would go into real estate and stuff like that. And what would we do here? What would we do there? Circling back to that into I think the most important thing in my mind that makes you say that my transactions are fairly smooth and calming.
Not fairly.
Calming.
Like always calming.
Is-
No drama.
It's one word, anticipation.
Okay.
You have to anticipate and explain that to the clients so they are expecting it. When you're not expecting it, that's the fear of the unknown. The fear of the unexpected is the
great point.
worst. So when we bring back the martial arts to it,
Right.
if somebody's throwing a punch, we have to anticipate it before it connects to us. If somebody's throwing a kick, if somebody has a bat, if somebody has a knife, if somebody has a gun, we are always talking about you have to anticipate what's going to happen before it happens. It's the same thing with the real estate transaction. You have to anticipate situations. Everybody goes through that. How you handle it is key.
So what do you think when you see young agents and they're sitting there with their head in their hands like this and they're like dealing with the drama, you lead it towards they didn't educate their clients enough to anticipate these things that could happen.
For themselves.
And now the
Yeah.
client is turning on them. I think that's a huge point because I see those young agents, and you work with them, you have them on the other side of the deal. They don't anticipate well at all. What is the number one thing that you would put a trainee through to get them to anticipate to that level? Maybe they don't do martial arts. What do you tell them? What do you show them to how to anticipate what could happen down the road and what you need to tell your client? And the tone that you're able to tell your client in as well is a big deal.
Yeah, you have to be calming. I mean, it's a stressful situation. Purchasing a house, selling a house, it's a stressful situation for them. So by you being calming and predictable, allowing them to understand that you're going to walk them through the process and educate them where you can and provide the data that shows them enough information to make decisions, they start seeing, they start trusting. This is the number one thing in any business, right? They have to trust you as an advisor.
It's a big one.
And then they walk, and as you're walking them through, they see that, okay, this is the next step, and this is the next step, and communication is key. To continually talk to your client and let them know, here's where we are, this is what's going to be the next step, and you walk them right to the table. And now that they're closing, this is what, it's not unpredictable anymore. We went over the closing costs. If it was the inspection, we went over prior to the inspection what you can expect from any inspector, the 60-page report. But here's the things we need to focus on. So if they know that going in, they don't see this report as an example and say, oh my God, there's so many things wrong with this house. No, we talked about that. Here's the major things, if any,
Right.
and this is what we're going to do about it. So it's okay. And so you have to kind of give them that assurance,
Right.
because it is a stressful situation, and you try to allay their fears from each step that they go
It's a
through.
really interesting point you bring up because I just thought of a closing that I recently just did. And I got called by a younger realtor. And they said that Wells Fargo wanted a survey done. It was the property's in Manayunk. Are you guys familiar with Manayunk in Pennsylvania?
No.
It's on the outskirts of Philadelphia. It's actually part of Philadelphia. It's like a mini little town of Philadelphia. But their houses are on top of each other and they're on hills, and the geography is completely not flat. It's up and down. Right. So I could see why Wells wanted the survey, because there was a detached garage that appeared to be encroaching on the adjacent neighbor's property. But the realtor couldn't explain in a degree of calmness to their client why the lender wanted this survey. And then the client started leading their head towards, oh my God, the garage is on someone's property. I already have a mover coming in. It's going to cost me this and that, and I've already paid for the inspection. And literally, those were the things that he was saying, the client. So I got him on the phone and said, listen, it's done all the time, Benny Young. They want to make sure. It hasn't occurred. We don't know if it is, but I will tell you, your property's been around since 1912. So if there was a problem,
What it came up with.
it would have came up in the records in some way, shape, or form, because in Pennsylvania it's a little different. Everything is county driven. Judgments are county driven, where in New Jersey it's state driven. But I went through and I made sure that there wasn't any assessment adjustments because the property was encroaching on another property before I spoke to. And I prepared, and I said, listen, but he said, well, what happens if, that word if, it's on someone else's property? Well, if it's on someone's property, then we have to generate a document called an easement. And allows the property to continue to exist how it has been for the last 100 years.
Right.
And therefore, you just sign it and you'll be responsible for the maintenance of the property and the insurance that covers and all these things. He goes, that's it. I was like, yeah.
It was that simple. You have to fill the gaps. I always find that if you give them the information ahead of time and you fill them in with all of the steps,
Yeah.
they don't get to use their imagination.
Right.
And some clients have a vivid imagination.
The word
about
if
what
is a
happened.
big imagination problem. Well, if this and if this. And I said, look, we could play the if game all day long.
Right.
Let's deal with what reality is. And then we'll deal with the solution when we know what the problem is. If there is a problem, there's the if. So,
Well, look at what Wells Fargo was doing. Anticipation.
anticipation.
They were anticipating that maybe there would be a problem, so they took it off the table. So when I ask you what you do for a living, you ask me what I do for a living, you ask Bob what he does for a living, we all do the same thing. We check off boxes and we overcome hurdles. And the people that overcome more hurdles are the people that will be more successful. in their lives.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Instead of reporting the problem, you're looking to solve it immediately. Reporters to me are a problem in
Or they
themselves.
try to delegate or
Yeah,
point a finger.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
your fault. It's your, no, let's just figure out how
Let's
we
get
gotta
this
fix
done.
it and let's move on.
Right.
Because what are we going to do? Dwell on something?
Yes.
If there's an easement, there's an easement. If there's no easement, there's no easement. Whatever the issue is, whatever the problem is, you got to attack the problem. You can't just let it
Yes.
fester on its own.
And then keep adding up all the ifs in your head and all the hurdles that you have to go through, which is,
And that's where the anxiety of a client can go through the roof.
Through the
You want-
roof.
You want to just prevent that from happening.
But I just definitely see in your transactions the calmness. And I think it's a really good point to be made about teaching anticipation and keeping your clients aware of different paths. But you're going to get this 60-page document. Don't focus on the totality of the 60 pages. Focus on this. And that's what I'm here to make you understand. And so you're not going crazy with all these different scenarios that could.
No surprises. One of the things I do when I meet a client, if they're interested in house, I provide a one-page PDF that shows them that we already did the homework. Whether you're going to make the offer or not, I'm going to have the homework done on the comps. I'm going to have the homework done on the appraisal range that you're going to look at, because we don't want to be surprised about that.
Right.
Afterwards, and I'm going to give you an offer strategy that makes sense if you want to go forward. So we have that contained in one page, and I give it to them and I say, here's all the data that you need after the interest of the house
Right.
to move forward on the house. And they appreciate that because there's no guesswork in, and we talk about it. It's adjustable if we want it to toss through, but it's something to shoot at, if you will.
What tidbit of information would you guys give to somebody watching this saying, I want to be like these guys? How are they getting their offers accepted at such a high rate than anybody else in the industry when it's so competitive to get an offer approved?
So going back to the word relationships, you have to have relationships with every agent that's out there, have a reputation. You're only as good as your reputation.
Right.
If your reputation is bad, people are going to shy away from you. They're not going to accept your offer. They don't want to deal with you. If they feel comfortable with you, they trust you and they love you, they're going to work with you. They'll be more inclined to work with you. And I've won out a lot of offers, and on my listing sides, I've worked with agents that I love to work with, and I trust them. And that's important because I know that we're going to get to the closing table at ClosePoint.
Right. Thanks. Bob, you?
Yeah. So, one of the things not many people think of is that, with all the transactions we've done is, you
You get to know the listing agents, and they get to know you, and everyone wants a smooth transaction for their client. We try to disengage the listing agent. I find that certain agents on either side, whether you're doing list or buy, it becomes an us and them, an adversarial. It shouldn't be adversarial. If we run into a problem, especially you're saying, okay, listen, let's work this out together. We both have the same interest at heart for different sides of the business,
Right.
but we're all trying to do the same thing. So let's work together and solve this. And it kind of de-escalates their us and them mentality to the point where it's like, yeah, that makes sense. Let's see if we can come to the meeting of the minds there. Sometimes you can, most of the times you can't. And sometimes it just, doesn't work out. Yeah, I move on.
And what's the goal? The goal isn't the documentation. It isn't the paperwork. It isn't the seller's disclosure. The goal is I want to take my listing, my seller, and I want them to get to the next part of their life.
Right.
And I'm just causing and affecting that to happen. If I'm working on the buy side with a buyer, my goal is to find them a home that they're going to love and they're going to have a great enjoyment. I just got a text today, just as I was coming here. One of the people I sold a home 5 years ago, of course, you guys closed them. They were just married, and now they have 2 children. They've outgrown the home. They're going to list their home. I'm going to get them to their next stage of life.
Nice.
The goal isn't selling a home. The goal is not selling them their home or listing their home. The goal is to getting them to the next stage of their life.
Right. Their overall life goals have to be achieved through this process.
Exactly.
So I think a lot of agents look at it from, let me just get this deal done. And it's very transactional, but it's not about the life of the client. And then in the title industry, it's very different than what you guys have. We're not facing the public as much as what, you guys do to generate that business. A lot of our business is referral. However, our systems have adapted over the 27 years to be more a part of that customer's resource center. So we're now reaching out to them saying, hey, tax season, we have your Alta statement. Do you need your deed? Here's a portal to access all your documents. We've gone to a portal system where they can see their deed, their mortgage, all the documents they signed for closing. So we're doing that type of stuff to give them that resource. Whereas in the past, it would go through, hey, let me call my realtor to call the title company. And then finally get it to the customer where the customer can go right into a portal to nail it down. So it's interesting when you talk about what the real goal is. It's not just the transaction, it's the relationship and the longevity of the trust between you and your clients. And I'm hoping that we can develop more of that on our side of the ball, to keep clients to come back to you guys because they were happy with us, because you referred
that's
us.
part of the customer relationship. So, companies spend, a lot of money to try to understand that customer experience. So what you're doing and what you obviously are, moving forward is making a better customer experience overall. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I don't want them to feel like we just did their deal and they were gone. I wanted more of that mentality that you guys were talking about. It goes beyond the closing, so it's a never-ending stretch for a small business to always try to better themselves. And I'm finding myself focusing more on that so I can get that repeat customer, because they're like, hey, they were really good. And I am seeing it, by the way. Kids?
I have 3 wonderful kids. I have 2 girls and a boy. They all have children. I have 7 grandchildren.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's
from
awesome.
age 8 to 3 months old.
Wow.
So yeah. And,
Congratulations.
they're the joy of my life, and we're very close in proximity and very close in relationship.
That's
so,
great.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Mark?
Married 35 years.
There it is.
My son Mark,
Yes.
the insurance industry. Our daughter Michelle.
I've not met Michelle.
She's 33 and he's 30.
Right.
She's in a headhunting capacity for all IT, high-end IT people.
Okay.
And she's married. We have 1 grandson. It was going to be 2 in a couple of days. my wife Regina, you know.
I know. Beautiful, lovely lady.
Yeah, okay.
Now, you guys are all in proximity. I know your son's close to where you live. How about your daughter?
My daughter and son's backyards are diagonally across from each other, and we're 5 minutes.
And you're
away.
5 minutes away.
So we're very close.
So
Very
Sunday
close
dinners?
Monday through Sunday.
Monday through Sunday.
Take a day or two.
You, Bob?
Sunday's an active day.
Yeah.
Well, we can, yeah, absolutely. We just had 4th of July, obviously, that just
Sure.
passed. Then we had the entire family over and enjoyed spending the time together. So, yeah.
So it's not a secret either that you guys have committed marriages, solid families, kids that are successful,
Check.
and still striving to do your business at another level than what it was yesterday, because you're always looking to do more.
Yeah.
What changes for some people that aren't doing what you're doing for them? I know you can't apply everybody's situation, but what is the common denominator or word, if you want? Go ahead.
My why.
Your why.
My why is my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You too.
Yes, absolutely.
I love what I do. Every day I love it. You talk to anybody that knows me. It's raining. People complain. I'm saying that's good for the grass and the flowers.
Just- yeah, right.
We need water to live.
Right.
If it's snowing,
Right.
get a snowmobile. Go skiing.
Go
do
enjoy it.
something. Enjoy it. We all have adversity. You know some of my adversity. We have adversity. I love my life. If I die tomorrow, I say it how many times? If I die tomorrow, I die a happy man. I don't want to die tomorrow, but if I did, I'd die a happy man. I love my life. I loved my life. Whatever I did, I
No
did.
regrets.
And that doesn't mean my life was all
Oh yeah. No.
ice cream and roses.
No,
I've
yeah.
had issues and complications just like anybody, but I love my life. So now I project that to my work. I project that to my clients. I project it to our students. I project that to people around me. And the one thing I only wish I had was a little bit more time.
Wow, that's great.
It's
Bob?
human nature, I think, to gravitate toward people who have common interests.
There you go. That's a big one for me
And that's
too.
what connected me to Mark and his wonderful family. And
I've been trying to get him on to do this for a long time, by the way.
I know.
He's the one that convinced me.
He's the one to commit. I'm getting that. I'm getting that.
Little nudge. But yeah, I mean, you know, his son. I mean, you know, his daughter. I know the whole family, and
Went to all his kids' weddings.
phenomenal.
That's cool.
You know, I mean, his son. We trained since he was 6 years old in martial arts. He's a martial artist in his own right. They're very successful. But there's a common ingredient. I mean, my daughters and my son are all successful. My older daughter is a nurse practitioner. Second one is a nurse. And third is a software engineer.
Wow.
So I'm proud of all of them. There was a commonality, I think, in how we raised our children, how we were raised. My dad, my mentor, was a hard worker. His work ethic was second to none. And you know, it's a testimonial, and you want your work ethic to be second to none, and you want to strive for that next level. So there is, no resting period in our kind of lives. We see where the level is and say, okay, what's that next step, right?
Sure.
Quick story: I in high school I ran track, and first day as a freshman, I asked the coach. My first question to the coach is, "Who's the fastest guy on the team?" He said, "Well, that guy, he's a senior. He's faster." I said, "I'll beat him. That's the guy.
That's the guy you gotta be.
That's my new target." And that's just a mentality.
You
that
just remind me of a story my dad told me. Go ahead.
it's
Similar.
just a mentality.
It's a
drives on
mentality.
everything you do. And the common interest, going back to that, it's just human nature to gravitate to someone like Mark and his family because they have those kind of passions, the kind of drive that, I want to be around. I want to be emulating and helping. And, Mark is my mentor in real estate because he's been so successful, and, it's helping me. So a lot.
Well, you got a good one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
From what I've seen and how he conducts everything, I've always said to Matt, who's the team leader for you guys, just so everybody knows that they're part of the Rowack team, you have to embrace Mark in a capacity to lead, because you're just in a now with you. together, the possibilities are endless in terms of what you guys want to do. It's up to you, basically. And that leads to my next question. What's the goal for each of you this year in units to close? Mark?
30.
30?
Yeah, I'm a little more modest. I just started, so mine is probably around 15, 12 to 15.
That's
yeah.
double
Yeah.
the average realtor.
Yeah.
So your goal is to do double
That's
the
my
average
goal.
realtor.
Yeah, that's my goal.
Just keep that in perspective, okay? So next year, all right, let me ask this way. When do you start planning for the new year? Like, when do you start sitting down with each other? All right, 2026 is coming. What month are you in doing this? Before you start putting to play the 2026 plan? Like, when do you start business planning is essentially what I'm asking.
That's a great question because it's work in progress every day.
That's what I think too.
You know,
Okay, so you don't have a date where you guys
yeah.
just say, hey, we're having a business meeting. These are our analytics. These are our numbers. This is what we are. This is the area we're going to focus in on more and spend more money to go after that business.
So I do.
I know you kill Monroe. I mean, that's a given.
I'm not Justin Monroe.
I know that, but I associate you with that Monroe Senior Development. Okay.
Oh, no, that's it?
How many units have you done in there?
Princeton,
No, I'm not
California,
pigeonholing you. I'm not
Peachtree,
pigeonholing you.
West.
But
Going to
listen, I got a friend named Ryan,
Hamilton.
Dave Salvetta. You know, when I see him,
Somerset.
he does the 40, 50 deals. And every time I look at him, I was like, hey, Dave, you know, Valley Brook, are you still killing it in Valley? He's like, I don't just do Valley Brook.
So there's two of us out there.
He's
Same situation.
trust me, he's the same way.
So, you know, goals are always work in progress, and achieving goals and pushing out your goals and things like that. I've been doing a vision board since I can't even remember. You know,
Well, let's talk about that. What's on your vision board?
always my weight, always my next vacation, always or vacations, always how many units I'm going to sell, how many houses I'm going to sell for the month, the week, the day, the year. Everything is planned out. Martial arts goals, family goals. It's not all financial. It's, you know, personal goals that way. And I look at my vision board every day. It's right there in my office, like right on the wall. So when I'm sitting down, I look, it's actually to my left, but it's right over there. And I'm looking at that vision board every day.
I don't do that, but my son Jason does. He keeps a vision board in his room of all his things that he wants. He's the one at the Merchant Marine Academy, and he keeps a vision board. And he's very disciplined to go after that vision board. Trust me when I tell you. How about you?
That's a key word, discipline, because it just permeates through industry and through hobbies and through sports.
Yeah, you can't be all over the
Just,
place.
you have to have
consistency.
an intentional, systematic thing you do every single day. And with me, I don't have a vision board,
Okay.
but I have kind of a list between 3 different things: mind, body, spirit. Every year I try to improve mind, body, spirit. I'm always wanting to learn more. I want to disprove that you can't teach old dogs new tricks. You
Yeah, that's
can.
bullshit
I
here.
can always-
That's BS here. That language is.
I don't believe that for a minute, and I always try to learn more and be better than I was the day, the week, the month before. And so building your mind, your spirit, I try to, do also spiritual things, for just my own. I can't say that I'm, just a super religious guy or anything like that, but I believe in, I believe in God, I believe in country, and I believe in the spirit of America. And I try to instill that in my family and the people that I, interact with.
So refreshing to hear.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And when I see young people believe those kind of values that made this country great, I'm inspired to see that continue.
Absolutely.
On an ongoing.
Yeah, come hang out with my sons.
Yeah.
You'll feel it. Those guys live it every day. It's interesting.
Talk about vision boards. I saw at one of the houses, I like to look at what books they have. And, I've read so
I
many
never
books.
thought of that. Yeah.
Whether it's Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, Earl Nightingale, Zig Ziglar, you name it, Joe Girard.
7 Habits of the Most Successful People.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Odd Mandino, on and on and on. You got to nourish the mind. You got to nourish it so that you grow. you can always learn. I'm learning every day. Sometimes you learn what not to do by what somebody shows you or does.
Right.
That's part of the learning experience also, what not to do. So I'm constantly doing that. But talking about a vision board, I was in a house one day and there was a check. And the check was payable to the boy that was in that room. He was like 14, 15 years old. And it had his name on the check and $1 million was written in.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was to be determined when he was going to get that $1 million.
That's cool.
He was like 13 years old. I was like, wow, that's awesome. I just
That is
got shot
awesome.
of it.
That
And it
is.
was a check
I
he
never
had
would
to-
have. I have never would
It
have
was
thought.
great, right? Because his goal was to have $1 million.
How long ago was that? Let's see if we can keep track on this kid.
3 months ago.
3
4
months.
ago?
All right, now we got to keep track
Yeah, we
on
gotta
him.
keep track of that kid. It's like, come on,
'Cause he's
$1
doing something
million's
right.
Too low.
I
You
wonder
gotta
who
go
told
higher.
him. I wonder who told me. It's probably his parents. To say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they were like, "This is what you need to do,"
Right.
and he probably took it to that level.
It seems like the common. You have a mentor in your life, right?
Sure.
One, I certainly had my family and mentors along the way,
Bob's a mentor of mine.
and you feed off each other. Again, I always had this saying, and I shared it with one of my family members. This, if you think you're the smartest person in the room, you're just in the wrong room.
You're in the wrong room.
Right.
That's very
I
true.
want to
Level up.
learn from people that have been more. There's always someone faster or more, but I want to be around them because I want to learn from them and grow from them. Until you're just not learning or
Bob,
growing.
I'm learning something about you right now. You're competitive, bro.
I am super competitive.
That's awesome.
And my kids are super competitive as well. And like I said, I think that attributes to their career. They understand
Absolutely.
accountability. They understand, and they, I have to say, they've married successful people.
He sits there like a real nice guy, I can see the lion in this guy,
The lion, the tiger,
Yeah, exactly.
the elephant that's going to trample you.
Yeah, that's the dude.
You do things as necessary, and like I said, you try to get to that next level. I'm always learning. I'm new to EXP, and I'm learning, and it's difficult. I am building. Mark has been there for a number of years. He's very successful, of course. I'm building my clientele, but I have a good inspiration to say that I'm going to get to those levels and try to achieve the best I can be, next.
So when Mark does classes, are you doing the classes with him as an instructor?
No, I'm a student.
You're one of the students
Yeah,
in
I'm
the class.
on Friday mornings and
Okay.
listening.
All through Zoom?
Yeah. Yes.
So let's say a realtor's not with the Rowack team and they wanted to be a part of your training, would you invite them? Would you?
Contact Mark. 732-598-1829.
No, that's important because you will, based on, because there's people searching to connect with leaders that can actually guide them to success, or be honest with them and say, listen, this may not be for you. You need to find something else. If you can't conduct yourself in this path that has worked for so many, maybe you can find something new. It's very rare, but I think people should be seeking you guys out, not only for martial arts, but for the real estate aspect, from a customer's perspective and from other realtors. Because I think that one of the biggest loss, honestly, is leadership. Young realtors are not finding real, and they're going into an EXP by themselves or a Real or any of those, and they're not being matched up with a real good mentor. And then they quit because they're frustrated. I think young people should get in touch with you guys, find you guys, and even if they're not with, your team or whatever, I know you guys are good enough to say, hey, just come over and listen to what we're talking about, and then develop that relationship thereafter, which is huge, which is gold. Gold. If you're not doing it and you're watching this and you're a younger realtor, I'm telling you right now, get in touch with these guys, because you're making a huge mistake. If you're getting into the business and you're looking for direction and you want good teachers, these are your guys. It's right here in front of you. Don't screw it up and think you can do something on your own. Get in touch with Mark, get in touch with Bob, and figure this out, because you need to be on those Friday calls. So But going forward, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah,
you
I
were
was
going
just going
to
to say, that word leadership is transcended over the years. When I first started out, leadership was someone that told me if I was, on time for a meeting, I was 5 minutes late, and it was dictatorial, and it's not. It's empowering. It should be empowering. It should be advisatory. It should be, interesting to them to want to listen to you and develop
Right.
some of your traits.
Don't waste your time.
Don't waste your time.
Yeah. Don't go in there and be late for my meeting.
Right.
Leave early. Keep your camera on if it's a Zoom meeting, and be attentive and learn. And get
They're
your.
holding you accountable for, and you should,
Boom,
accountability
that's-
is a big deal.
So when I do these interviews now with Mark McKenna, with Matt Rowack, with Christian Giamenko, all guys that do big numbers, very successful, all three. And now with you guys, it's all the same. It's the discipline, the consistency, and holding themselves and others accountable. That's really the ingredient. And then the teaching that they give and what you've described is the anticipation aspect. If you can't teach people how to anticipate a problem, you don't have the experience. You better get a mentor, somebody to teach you how to anticipate so you don't have deals blowing up in your face, which is incredible.
So a samurai warrior, the weapon of choice is the samurai sword, the katana, and it's got to be sharp.
Right?
If it's not sharp, it's not working. At my Friday calls, it's samurai sales skills training.
Is that right? Yeah. I didn't know that.
It's all about being sharp. It's how you could be sharp, not how to write up a contract or write up an offer or how to read a seller's disclosure. It's sharpening your sales skills. And what is the best skill you could do? Give people what they want. If you get somebody to get what they want, Zig Ziglar says you'll get what you want.
You have to be a facilitator and solve and close deals. That's how, I look at ourselves. ClosePoint is about closing deals and never having the client call you up and say, I have this problem. Maybe it's an escrow payment for a sewer or water. Those aren't problems. I'm talking about, I'll give you an example of a real problem that just came up yesterday. And I hope a client, and this is like a warning to everybody out there, a client went to a sheriff's sale and bought a foreclosure. Didn't do a search. Spent $786,000. No BS. $786,000. Contacts us after he wins the bid. We do a search. We do a chancery abstract, which is the search of all the court records and all the notifications that went into it. Of course, the county search, judgment search, all the searches. And we said, wait a minute, there's a problem here. There's a $1.8 million mortgage that's ahead of the $780,000 that he just bought. We just got contacted by his attorney to sign certifications of our findings so he can undo the sheriff's sale. Think about that. This man went into a sheriff's office to buy a sheriff's deed, didn't do a damn thing to contact anybody, didn't speak to a Mark, didn't speak to a Bob, didn't speak to anybody, and spent $786,000. The sheriff's not going to give you any advice. They're not there to do that. They're there to facilitate a sale. They're not guaranteeing title to you. That's what we do. Find out. That's the first in 27 years that I've ever seen that type of, I don't want to say ignorance, but what do you call it? Like just, I don't want to say foolish, but just not knowing or asking.
Non-knowledgeable.
Yeah. You have to do all the data and everything. Listen to your realtors. If you don't have a realtor, get to a realtor. Find out. It was just something that could have been easily avoided because it came up on the county. And then we backed it up with the chancery abstract. And it was in those filings as well.
You have to surround yourself
If
with
you don't
like
have good people, you're done.
Whether it's the realtor, whether it's the lender, whether it's the title company, whether it's your
Surveyor, inspector, all that.
If you don't have a good team, I'm a very loyal guy.
Yeah.
Loyalty is important for me to give and to receive.
Yep.
And when I feel really good about somebody or some company, I stick with it.
It works.
One of the first transactions we did together, talking about a garage was a detached garage in Edison on Old Post Road, was on the other person's property, half of the garage. And it was a big garage, huge 3-car garage.
think I remember this.
And we got it closed.
Because we did the easement.
And what did we do? We made everybody achieve what they wanted.
Yep.
The seller wanted to sell. The buyer wanted to buy. There was a hurdle that we had to overcome. You were able to overcome it on the title work. We got a closing. They wound up selling that property for, after he purchased it.
Oh, you already sold it.
Yeah, he sold it at a really good profit.
Did he have any issues selling it from a title standpoint?
None.
That's fantastic.
None.
That means I'm happy about that. I'm going to be honest with you.
And to be honest,
We got the documents properly executed. That's a huge compliment, by the way. The one that you don't hear of.
right. and even to add to the compliment, I don't concern myself with title. That's your job. I don't concern myself with the lender. Yes, I piece it all together. Yes, I do. But I don't micromanage you. I don't want to.
Right.
I already have the relationship. I don't need to micromanage you. I don't need to micromanage the lender. I don't need to micromanage the home inspector.
You know what they're capable
I
of
know
doing.
it's going to be done because I keep the same people around me unless you give me a reason
Right.
not to have me around you.
Right, I got you.
And that's why it's so important when we recommend going with our team. We're saying, listen, we have the best attorneys, the best title company, the best inspectors. We can lend that to you, and then there's a synchronization from the time you get accepted all the way to the closing table that we're all interested in you being successful with.
It's interesting because on the last podcast that I did, I made it very clear to the people who are customers, listen to your realtor's referral. Especially if they've been around for a long time. Don't try to create your own path. They have a relationship with those people for a reason. And it's different in different marketplaces. Sure. ClosePoint's very strong in South Jersey and Central Jersey. But when I get to Bergen County, Essex, we can do it. But there's title agencies I know that are a lot better than us in that area because Newark and Patterson and those areas have different culture and different tax, things that are being handled. Angela in our recording department can talk to any one of the county clerks. Knows them all.
But you could duplicate that if you had to.
If I had to, yeah.
So
Right.
your
I
desire
could.
is not to be there.
It is. I want to stay focused on my group.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because I want to get better and better and stronger there. I want to thank you guys for doing this.
Here.